Everybody, Steph from the Hot Moon Podcast. So, Aaron Rodgers and Ryan Clark have been going back and forth, man, this past couple days, man. It started last week, with Aaron Rodgers on Pat McAfee talking about, asinine takes and all this other stuff, man. And I mean, look, man, Aaron Rodgers is on that Pat McAfee show, just being freely talking. He gets paid $1 million a year, to be on that segment with Pat McAfee and everything. And Aaron Rodgers is gonna say how he feel he wants to, and it seems that he's been taking shots without giving the name. And we all know it's been Ryan Clark, because Ryan Clark has been drawing back and forth between him on First Take with Stephen A. Smith. And I really don't know what to make of this beef, man. It's like Ryan Clark he's tried to keep it to sports, even though his criticism of Aaron Rodgers is definitely has been scathing. But I mean, I know people who don't like Ryan Clark. I don't really have a problem with Ryan Clark. Ryan Clark can be good. I'm 50-50 on him. Half and half, makes good points. Sometimes I don't agree, but overall, I think Ryan Clark's a good dude. I definitely think he comes from a good place. And I don't know, man. I want to give a slight nod to Ryan Clark, but Ryan Clark can get a little emotional at times too. Okay. But it did get weird when Rodgers was starting to bring up, if you're going to talk before you speak, bring up your vaccination status and all this other stuff, which was very bizarre because, Ryan Clark's criticism has been of Rodgers' play. As you can see here is what he says, that you're a quarterback of a 4-10 team that has to win the last 3 games of the season to even be equal to what last year's team was without you. And look, man, Rodgers, it seemed like Rodgers hasn't really been taking accountability a whole lot this season. It comes across as finger pointing. It seems like, it just, even if he had nothing to do with Robert Saleh getting fired, it seemed like, he had a hand in that. Wanting Devontae Adams, wanting all your players, all this other stuff. And, Rodgers has just started playing good. And he's just had a lot of weird press conferences. And Ryan Clark said he's talked to guys in the locker room that's played with Rodgers, and he has the inside scoop. So when Clark goes off on Rodgers about him being a poor leader and a lack of accountability and goes as strong as to call him a fraud, I don't know enough about Rodgers to call him a fraud, but if Ryan Clark is more plugged in than most of us out here, so if he's gonna go to that strong of a statement, then okay, then look, this was bound to happen. The clash of current sports has been happening for a while now, but it's really starting to happen on a bigger scale now that you have Aaron Rodgers, who he wants to criticize sports media, but the hypocrisy is people been saying it right. Like here, he's on Pat McAfee doing sports segments and whatnot. Okay, times they don't talk about sports. He's on there. Okay, you're a public figure, an athlete. You've been playing poorly. Okay, just because you're on ESPN doesn't mean that other segments or other programs on ESPN is going to be as favorable to you. So this has gotten really heated. Because look, Ryan Clark he's worked very hard to get a new contract to be at ESPN. And he's on First Take. Stephen A. has his back. Okay, so it don't seem like nothing's gonna happen to Ryan Clark. And then he's talking about a guy on Pat McAfee show and Aaron Rodgers. And they clearly have disdain for each other. And I will say this: the big one on all this is ESPN. Right. This is the huge one. This is driving traffic. ESPN loves drama like this. Okay. As long as it doesn't get too out of bounds, they're not going to suspend anybody. I'd be shocked if Ryan Clark got suspended. Ryan Clark got a little emotional, but I think he was valid in a lot of things he said. I think Aaron Rodgers, he might have been valid a little bit, but he just kind of lost me when he was bringing up just, your resume and your vaccination status. I didn't understand where that was coming from. You know what I'm saying? Is he trying to paint Ryan Clark into the liberal camp? Maybe he is, but what's that got to do with your play on the field? What's that got to do with your poor leadership and stuff like that, right? I think both guys don't really look all that great, honestly, in this, because I'm going to try to be objective, but at the same time, Rodgers looks a little worse bringing up stuff that just didn't need to be brought up in. You know what I'm saying? It's like this whole vaccination stuff is still being rent-free in his head. It really irks his nerve, but that's on Aaron Rodgers though, right? He's the one who said that he's immunized, right? He said that he didn't give a direct answer when they asked about his vaccination status, and instead of just being truthful, why didn't he just be honest about it? You know what I'm saying? because I think at the time they were asking, I think it was a requirement for players, or they have to go through, if you didn't want to get vaccinated, you had to go through like a different process or whatever, some type of quarantine process or something like that to that effect, so that you can continue to play on the team. So I mean, Rodgers still is irked of how bad he looked in that, but that's all on him. So then comes Stephen A. Smith on his Stephen A. Smith show today, backing Ryan Clark, saying that, listen, Aaron Rodgers, you don't need to come at at Ryan Clark because he has a platform and all this stuff, and we are on TV more than you are. There is some truth to that. They have the license to talk about you every day, but that's just gonna muddy First Take and mess up viewership in a way if all you're gonna keep doing is trying to bash Aaron Rodgers. And they don't really bash Aaron Rodgers like that. If Aaron Rodgers plays well, he gets credit. If the team wins, they get credit. If they're losing, they're gonna take L's and criticism for losing, because this is the mess that Aaron Rodgers has created in New York. Okay, similarly, the New York Jets have been doing everything and dancing all around Aaron Rodgers to make that man happy, and they're 4-10. Okay, and last year's team, you can make the case of Robert Saleh with Zach Wilson's Clark was much better. We're gonna see where this beef continues going forward, man. I don't really like it. I'm sure it's entertaining for people who don't like Ryan Clark. I'm sure it's entertaining for people who don't like Aaron Rodgers, right? But I mean, it's just not a good look, and definitely not a good look for Pat McAfee, in my opinion. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, it's cool that he gets to have that type of player on his show, but I mean, Aaron Rodgers, I've been done with it. I've always thought Aaron Rodgers has been smug and cocky and arrogant anyway. You know what I'm saying? But I did try to be fair and listen to both sides in this, and it's just like, I don't know. Aaron Rodgers continue to run me the wrong way. Okay, there's gonna be plenty of people who agree with Aaron Rodgers, and that's totally fine. And there's gonna be people that are gonna agree with Ryan Clark. I'm on the camp of somewhat siding with Ryan Clark, but it's not really a side. It's more so, I think he just presented his case a little bit better in this back and forth. Aaron Rodgers, I mean, seemed like an emotional guy, man. A very emotional dude. Very upset how the season is going. I get the frustration, but I just think that he took it to other angles that it didn't need to come at when you're a sports figure and they're gonna criticize you, and you're on Pat McAfee talking, adding more content for guys on First Take and other networks to talk about. So that's where their progress comes into play. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, y'all let me know what y'all think about all this, man. Leave your thoughts in the comment section, man. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe. I'm out.